Victoria stood over the mahogany desk and sighed as she stared down at the scattered dress designs and random doodles. She'd started fresh sketches the day after her wedding, and now, over a week later, she still wasn't happy with the results. Nothing compared to her own lavish gown, of which many replicas were already being made by designers who only wished they would have had the initial idea. And while that dress was her absolute favorite, Victoria didn't want to recreate it for resale. That unique design was hers, whether the marriage was real or not. She wanted to keep the gown special, but she would do others that were similar for future clients. And she knew she couldn't stop other designers from trying to mimic her gown, but they still wouldn't be the same. Hers was literally one of a kind. Her thoughts circled back around to the real marriage. She didn't know why she always put quotations around the word in her head. Her marriage to Stefan was as real as anyone else's marriage. In fact, she'd bet her entire year's salary that theirs was better than the majority of those living in Hollywood because she sincerely loved Stefan and would do anything for him. Obviously a point she'd proven. Not only did they share that bond and connection of their friendship, but the sexual chemistry was beyond amazing. Didn't married couples complain that after they said, "I do," the light burned out on the passion? Yeah, there was no dimming the desire in the bedroom here. After their initial lovemaking in the theater, and their movie night, Stefan had brought her into his master suite, where they'd playfully undressed each other once again, and enjoyed the benefits of the sunken garden tub in his master bath. If this was how the whole friends with benefits thing worked, no wonder so many people jumped on board. 6 months of Stefan attending to her intimate needs hadn't been part of the initial bargain, but it had become a surprising extra. Unfortunately, her emotions were a jumbled mess. She'd been stunned at what an attentive, passionate lover Stefan was, but when she started really thinking about their intimacy, she couldn't help but feel they'd passed the point of no return. After this 6 months, if she chose to leave, could they actually go back to just being friends? Victoria turned her focus back to the pencil sketches staring up at her. Before her wedding, she would have loved these designs, but now that she was technically a princess, still an odd term to grasp when referring to herself, she wished for all of her future brides to feel the same on their special day. She wanted to launch her fairy tale collection with magnificent gowns that women would love just as much as the ones she wore, and if she was going to start this, she needed to stop coming up with garbage. Raking her hands through her hair, she groaned. "Bad time?" She spun in the direction of the door to find Stefan entering their bedroom. In the past, she'd always appreciated his fine build. But now that she'd seen, tasted, and touched every delicious inch, she had a whole new admiration for her sexy husband. A weird sensation to associate with Stefan, but surprisingly a very welcome one. Would it be too taboo for the prince to walk around naked? A shame, really, to cover such a magnificent creature. If one didn't know he was a prince, they'd never guess from his attire. Though he did look mighty fine in his black t-shirt stretched over his broad shoulders and faded designer jeans, it was the baseball cap pulled low to shield his face that captured her attention. Not often had she seen him in a hat, but he wore it well. And while he may look very American with his ensemble, he was every bit the Greek god she knew him to be. Perfect timing, actually. She turned away from her ghastly drawings and leaned back on the desk. "What's up?" Those long legs ate up the space between them, and he rested a hip beside hers on the desk.